Okay.
Hey, kia ora, Helen from taking me live from Sun City in Arizona. Hope you're having a super fantastic, sparkling day. And tonight I have with me a very special guest, Sally, who had some technical difficulty getting on. So we haven't even done a prep on this meeting or anything yet. So, Sally, I'm so glad that your internet worked and you were able to get on with us. So, welcome.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me on.
Excellent. So, I'm just going to quickly read your bio and then we're going to let you loose with some questions.
Okay.
So, Sally Marie Gimon is a real estate investor since February of 2019, specializing in notes, tax deeds, and wholesale properties. She has wholesaled 3 homes in 2022 and won't have to pay capital gains tax on over $39,000 in profit for a savings of $9,282 so far this year. If you want to know how to do that, you got to stay tuned. The Spendthrift Trust she talks about is legal and has never been audited. You don't get a say. Sorry, Zeffie was putting her 2 cents worth in there. Sally Marie Gimon holds a weekly mastermind for her real estate group that reaches over 800 investors. She hosts Money Secrets Weekly on Win Win Woman TV. She has been in Authority Magazine and CB Nation. She has been a featured guest in several podcast summits and now speaking to live audience nationwide. Sally, welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you, Helen. I appreciate you asking me to be here.
So we've got a couple of questions for you to get us started.
Okay.
As soon as I figure out where I put them. But first of all, explain to us a little more about the. Oh, hang on, I found my questions. So why did you start in February of 2019?
My parents were going to drive from Arizona to Charlotte for my nephew's wedding. They rented a car because they were taking a lot of things. And on the
Mm-hmm.
way, my mom got very sick. She got septic of the blood. She was on a ventilator. And my dad had asked me to keep checking their mail. In November 2018, her Medicare bill was $179,000. Thank God my dad was a retired military officer. They had TRICARE for life, so all her everything was taken care of. But I'm looking at the bill; it was 19 pages long. I'm reading this in December. I'm like, oh my gosh, if this were me, I'd be broke. I don't have that kind of health coverage. So I uh, I was a Medicare broker at the time. Unfortunately, working with people turning 65 in the U.S. going on to Medicare, they're angry, they're broke, they are mad that they have to pay for Medicare, Part B of Medicare and everything else. I'm like, I need to change something. So I started self-directing. I set up self-directing my traditional and my Roth IRA, and I got involved with real estate investing with a group in Phoenix, Arizona. Best decision I ever made because it got me on the right path of doing what I needed to do. My I was the last graduating class in my high school in Rockville, Maryland. It closed because of the population. We had the economic advisor to President Reagan come in and talk to us. Kind of high up there, but we could care less. I'm 16 and stupid, and he said to us, "If you were born from 1965 to 1970, the chances of you having Social Security, if they don't change anything, you won't have anything at age 65." That's always been in the back of my mind, and I mean, I'm trying to build up my nest egg for myself and for my family to make sure nobody has to worry about things. True story. On December 31st, my mom was on a floor in a North Carolina hospital with 24 patients on ventilators. Four different families took their loved one off the ventilators against doctor's orders to bring the person home to die because they couldn't afford to stay in the hospital with the new year. And I'm like, that's wrong. That shouldn't happen in the United States.
That's heartbreaking. I mean,
Yes,
having gone through my husband passing almost 5 years ago, thankfully he was never put on a ventilator at any point in time. But I
excellent.
totally get the sepsis thing because he went through that. We almost lost him 10 days into his 87-day hospital stay because of that.
Wow.
Um, so we were very thankful he didn't get put on a ventilator. And his oncologist even said to us, he says, don't let them put you on a ventilator at all, never. But at that point, what can you do? But I totally get that. And the hospital bills, I am so thankful that the insurance we had covered his 87-day hospital stay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's shocking how much it is, and you know for my mom on New Year's Eve, the respiratory therapist was in the room, tears just running down her face. She goes, "Why are they doing that?" And a lot of people don't understand, when you're on a Medicare Advantage program and you've got like a $6,000 deductible, you got to pay that the first day of the new year, and your families can afford it. I never want to put any of my family members into that situation where they're going to have to say either we pay it or she has to die. That's just not the right thing to do.
Yeah, well, thankfully, Brad's all of his deductibles and co-pays, he had met the limit on everything before we got to that in June of that year. And so everything was 100% covered after that.
Thank God for
which
that.
I am so thankful for, because it meant we didn't get stuck with a hospital bill afterwards. So I'm just thankful for that. But I totally get people. I mean, I'm hearing stories about, I've got a friend whose husband passed away, and she's stuck with hospital bills right now. From his stay in hospital and stuff, and she's like, I don't know how I'm going to pay for this.
It's scary. It really is.
And it's stories like that kind of got me thinking about things, and I am so glad I got to meet you.
Yes, we could talk all night. So yes.
We could. But one of the reasons I'm glad I met you is that now I can start putting other stuff in place, because here at Before the Dirt Nap, we're all about living your best life now. Oh, I totally forgot to say, we're on podcast number 1133.
Wow. Congratulations. How long have you been doing this?
Just over 3 years. We started on the 1st of August 2019 as Facebook Lives, and then on August the 1st of this year, we switched it from being Facebook Lives to being podcasts here on YouTube, although we still stream into Facebook each day as well.
That's amazing. Every single night?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And some days we were on 2 or 3 times a day.
I'm impressed. I'm setting up my podcast. I only have 3 small episodes, so brand new. I was told the average podcaster only does 21 episodes, and then they get bored, and then they never come back to podcasting. So you are not average.
I actually did have a Blog Talk Radio back in like 2011 or 12, I think it was, that our mutual friend Casey got me involved with, and we did weekly broadcasts on that. And I have, I think that they're still on there, and there's well over 200 episodes on there as well. And then he wanted me to keep doing live, and then the lives came around. He wanted me doing videos and all of that. So in July of 2019, he set me a challenge to do a Facebook Live every day for a year. And of course, me being me, went, okay, like straight away. Okay,
I'll do it. Don't worry, I won't stop. And
yeah.
and then 4 years later.
Oh crap! I got to do 365 Facebook Lives, and then I looked at the calendar and went, double crap! It's leap year in 2020. But we got past the first year, and it was, and we just kept going.
But Helen, you're doing it. I mean, that's an amazing number to say you've got that many podcasts, Facebook Lives, everything else under your belt. That just proves what a professional you are.
Well, I'm just, but that's not what I'm here for. Anyway, so back to our topic, back on topic, because we can totally get sidetracked as we discover. So Sally and I had really good conversation about all of this the other day, and that's what prompted me to invite her to come on to Before the Dirt Nap, because we really do want people to be able to live their best life now. And I apologize for my dog whining in the background. She's been a little unwell today.
I've got a little kitten who thinks my feet are something to chew on, so that's why I keep looking down.
Yeah, well, I think she's whining because she wants to go out, but she knows that her walk is not for another 20 minutes.
So we got a time limit. Okay.
We got a time limit. But anyway, Before the Dirt Nap, we're all about living your best life now and how to do that. And with your Spendthrift Trust and what it is that you do to help people with the financing and things, they're able to live their best life now with the finances and stuff, like taking care of the medical bills, not having to worry about those, being able to leave that legacy for future generations and everything. And that's another thing that everything that you do ties in beautifully with helping people live their best life now and living their dreams, as well as leaving legacy for future generations.
Correct. Just to give you an idea, the full title of the trust is irrevocable, non-grantor, discretionary, complex trust. And what irrevocable means, it goes from generation to generation. 95% of the trusts out there My parents had it. They had it so they could avoid probate, and it ended when my father passed away. My mother died 2 years earlier. But if you know who Susie Orman is, and she's on
Mhm.
PBS, she talks about just a revocable trust. It doesn't save on taxes. It doesn't keep your information private. It doesn't keep you from being sued. The trust I talk about does all of that. So that's why it's much more expensive, but it's going to go from generation to generation. Um, Nelson Rockefeller famously said, own nothing, control everything. The Rockefellers, it's called the office. It's what their trust is. It's on its seventh generation and almost 400 people in the trust. My little family, I've got 7 nieces and nephews, 2 brothers and 2 sister-in-laws. So we're a little family right now. So, I got a grandniece. We can't put her in just yet. She doesn't have her social security number yet. So
I have a friend who actually got to meet with not the Rockefeller family, but a family similar of that caliber that have been around for generations and generations. And she was telling me that they have their own private genealogist. And that genealogist's task is to keep track of every member in the family of who is legitimate, who's not, when new people are born, when people die, when people are born, adopted children, foster children, all of that. They have to keep track of everything to do with the family as to who's alive and who's not. And at that point, I think they had something like 1,500 family members that were living. And I was sort of like, 1,500? Oh my gosh.
Well, I've got a kind of crazy family. My father was Byzantine Catholic, so they celebrate Christmas this January 6th. So I got 2 Christmases. But when my grandmother was a little girl during the flu epidemic, her father died. She was the oldest of 3 girls. The priest came to the door and said, "You're marrying this man with 4 girls." And then they had 5 more kids. So I have this crazy. They're not related to you, but they're your cousins. So it's just like this. When we have a family reunion, it's a Herbenack Berta family reunion. They think it's people who got married. Oh no, it was the 2 different families who got blended together. So it's a crazy. Yeah, it's fun to go to Pittsburgh because you're related to half the city. So.
Yeah, my had a third great grandfather who got married to my third great grandmother and had 5 children. He had 5 or 6 children with the first marriage. Then his wife passed away, so he got married again, and then had either 6 or 5 children with the second wife, and then he passed away and left her with 11 kids.
Wow.
And I was sort of like, and this is back in the 1800s.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm sort of like, can you imagine just the stress on the family? And they were just farmers.
Correct. That was the flu epidemic. This is my parents' 50th wedding anniversary in 2011. I thought my mom was crazy. She invited her 2 first cousins. She knew her uncle who came from Ireland, went to Butte, Montana, had a family. The mines shut down in Butte, Montana. He went to California, had a second family. She was bringing their, 2 half sisters who have never met. They're in their 60s. I'm like, Mom, you can have a disaster. The 2 ladies are the best of friends now. And my mom's like, how dare you deny? I think I'm doing something wrong. I'm like, I would never have thought of doing that. Because they had the same dad, but the dad had left them. So yes.
Family dynamics is always interesting. But back to talking about trusts.
Yes.
I know. This is what happened. This is what happened with us the other day when we were having a conversation. I think we ended up talking about 2 hours. And we were all over the mat, and we kept coming back to another topic, and then we'll go off on another tangent, and then we'll come back to a different topic and off on another tangent. And it was the best conversation ever.
I enjoyed it too.
But one thing I like about this is that you were talking about no capital gains tax. Correct. And I know that gets a lot of people a lot of time because they at one point had a benchmark. You could have up to so much money in capital gains without paying taxes, and then you got taxed after that amount or something. Was that the case?
Correct. Currently, for federal capital gains, there's some states that have state capital gains. The trust only works with federal. It's 23.8% today. Back in November of 2021, they did pass one of those huge bills there were 2 bills that got passed back in November. It is written into law, but has not been put into place that for people making more than $400,000, their capital gains will go up to 40%. So you're a smart investor. I'm a real estate investor, and I dabble in crypto. Well, just the silver coins. The thing,
Yeah.
Those are all considered investments. If you sell them, you're going to pay 40% of what you were smart enough to buy or to do things with. It's I'm not anti-government. I want my government to succeed, but I don't think they should, because I was smart, I don't think they should be taking money from me that I can handle better. I can spend my money, do things like that. I'm still paying gas tax. I'm still paying food tax. I'm paying everything else. It's just the capital gains on any profit you make from crypto, from stock market, forex, silver coins. That you're doing the silver coins too, aren't you?
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah.
Silver coins. One of my clients, literally, she's got 3 children. Her youngest son, unfortunately, is autistic. He stays at home with her. She goes to yard sales in Phoenix, gets furniture, she strips it, she refinishes it, and sells it at consignment stores. She got audited for $2,000 she didn't report on her taxes. And scary scenario, they just hired, the IRS just hired 1,600 new IRS agents who are going to go after small businesses, the LLCs, the S corps, things like that, to find out who's not paying taxes correctly.
Wow.
With the Spendthrift Trust, it's never been audited, and all your information is private. So how it's set up, some you have the non-grantor, they set it up and then they step away, and then your information is private, so they won't know if you have 100 rental doors, or if you have artwork, or if you have a whole bunch of silver coins and you're selling them. No, they won't know that, and it would just goes from generation to generation.
Wow. That's kind of woke me up a little bit, because I always thought capital gains was just based on real estate. I didn't realize that all other investments
Correct.
had the capital gains thing on it as well.
Small businesses. I'm working with business brokers where people are going in to sell their businesses. This kind of funny story. My brother has a brewery, and this. Are you okay? The lights went out.
Yeah, this is what happens in RVs. Your electric goes out every now and again.
Well, I'm sitting at my brother's in the brewery, sitting next to a guy. We're playing Tuesday nights' music bingo, and he just happened to say his dad was selling 4 Schwann's home delivery routes, one to him, one to his brother, and then to his 2 cousins. And I'm like, well, have they gotten the contract? He's like, no, the business broker's looking for it. He's selling each route to family members at $80,000 a piece. It's going to be $320,000. Capital gains on that, because he's selling a business, was $72,000. His wife called me in tears going, do you know $72,000 to somebody who's 68 years old is 3 years of living expenses? She's just like, we didn't know this. And, I'm right now helping somebody else who's selling 2 franchises. He's in his 60s. He doesn't want to work them anymore. And we're going to save him quite a bit of money on that too. So it's small business.
Oh, sorry, carry on. My apologies.
It's small businesses, it's investments. I don't mean to say this rudely, but the federal government has their fingers into all kinds of stuff for you.
So then, with the Spendthrift Trust, are we able to put businesses in there and have the Spendthrift Trust own businesses?
Here's a yes, no. There's a business trust for 1099 income, and then there's a Spendthrift Trust for your investment income. So there is a fine line between that. But both of the trusts, it doesn't matter if you go business or if you go spendthrift, both of the trusts will keep your information private and will keep you from being sued for anything. My brother's brewery is in the business trust. My license, I do infinite banking. That's a whole other subject that helps people save money, things like that. My licenses from that, I get paid by 1099 from the insurance company. That goes to the business trust. My real estate, my crypto, my silver coins, because that's an investment. If you are an author, if you are a movie star, anything with royalties, that goes through the Spendthrift Trust.
Wow. I'm going to have to look more closely at this. I mean, you had me intrigued the other day when we were having the conversation.
Yes.
But now that we're staying more on track and hearing more about this, it's sort of like, oh, yeah. We need to look at this a little more, especially with my goals coming up for the business. I really need to start, and being involved with the silver investing as well. It's sort of like, oh.
And just to give you an idea, the difference between it, what I buy from for my own collection of silver, that goes through the Spendthrift Trust. I'm not trying to crow about this. Today I'm officially on TikTok for 7 weeks. Woohoo! I'm a TikTok.
Woohoo! How many
I
followers you got now?
almost 7,000 followers.
Sweet.
Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, the holiday weekend, I went out to people who were about silver coins who posted the day before, and I just did individual messages to each person saying, "Hey, my grandfather, and I used to do silver certificates. We'd get $100 bills, and we have to go through them and everything." I just said I'm now getting silver coins delivered and put my website into a message.
Mhm.
I've got two people who have signed up to be under me on the one side, and then everybody else is on the other side. So I'm like, that
Nice.
works. TikTok works. So
Nice.
so
We're
that
gonna have
so
to, we'll have to talk TikTok strategy another time because I'm only at, hang on, 805 followers, I think it is.
follow me. What's your
Oh, I
handle on
do follow
TikTok?
you.
Are we
My
following each
TikTok is
other?
just Helen Brahms.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think
So we do. I think we follow each other. I know I follow you. I don't know if you're following me back, but I have it like 800 and I think last I checked was like 807. I think I had like 193 to go to get to the magic 1,000 number.
Well, wow, I'm just checking my TikTok right now.
I'm
Just
at
to give you
807, so I've got 193 to go to get to that magic 1,000, so I can do lives into TikTok. Now,
Oh, there's a limit for it. Oh,
you
I
gotta,
just
have
exactly
1,000.
6,900. So it's going. But I go out every 90 minutes. I go after because I'm looking for investors. So this week it's been forex investors. So I go to the top people who've done videos. I go into their account and then just take 30 people for the top 30 people from their account. Just hit follow, and I do a live Q&A on Monday nights. Monday night, I had 6 people from TikTok because I have a little survey
Yep.
when they come and they're like, "Yeah, you're talking about capital gains." And the one guy has an apartment. I wish I were him. 28 years old, has an apartment. After all the taxes and everything else, he's making $50,000 a month on the rent rolls in his apartment. With the
Nice.
Spendthrift Trust, he's going to save $11,900, and he's just like $11,900 because that per month is a lot of money. So
Yeah.
so he's looking at another person who was there, who does forex, and he's like, some days I make a lot of money, other days I lose money. I'm like, whatever you do, at the end of the year, if you made a profit, that's what the capital gains will be on. So
Yeah.
TikTok
Wow.
works.
I'm gonna have to start doing that with my TikTok because all I do is just little 15-second videos every morning, and I have this pack of cards here, and I do a 15-second video on whatever the top card is because I just switch them out each day, and just put a little bit of music to it, and that's it. And I haven't done any advertising or anything on my TikTok, and I'm up to 807 followers. I want to get the live, so.
If I were you, I would start going out to other people who are tarot cards and start following them.
No, these aren't tarot cards. This is the Dreamer's deck. So this one says,
oh, wow.
I know that nothing bad lasts forever, even when my emotions tell me otherwise. I am never stuck. So it always has an I am.
What time in the morning do you do this?
Around 6 o'clock in the morning.
So that's about
5:30 in the morning I post them, and then I put them onto Instagram and Facebook and all of that. And so this pack I will finish on either Friday or Saturday of this week, and then I already have my next pack lined up, which is Super Attractor, so we'll start going through those ones.
Oh, neat. Where do you get the cards from?
Oh, these I just got off Amazon, but this one here I've actually read the book Super Attractor. It's awesome.
Oh, excellent.
So it's got sayings out of there. Like the first one here says, my super attractor power comes from how I feel, my faith in love, and the joy I put out.
Well, I don't know if you know Bob Proctor. He passed away back in March.
Yeah. With Thinking
I'm a follower of his, and I write down 100 times a day. I'm thankful and grateful now that, and my goal was, I'm thankful and grateful now that I've sold 132 trusts by December 31st, 2022. From TikTok, he's not following me, but he's been paying attention to it. He's a Microsoft engineer. He set up an appointment with me. He's like, for the past 14 years at Microsoft, sorry, I got a moth flying around me. For the past 14 years, he's been doing crypto mining for Microsoft, and he's retiring in November. And he goes, I'm sitting on $600,000 profit. He knew down to the penny how much he'd have to pay in capital gains. So we're having this nice conversation and everything else. And then he goes, well, I kind of coach a team and everything. So I just put my link to be joint venture into it. And I'm like, well, how big's your team? And he goes, oh, it's small. I'm like, okay, 8, 12 people. That's okay. I'll talk to them. And he goes, yeah, it's over 350 engineers who are all sitting on $600,000 in capital gains too. I'm like, manifesting? So
Yeah, I love to. I sit down every morning and have my little routine that I do, and I have my I am statements that I say every morning and every evening. I have some that sit here on these colored index cards, and then and so the main one is always sitting in front of me, and then on the underside of my cabinet above my bed, I have the stick ups with I am statements on there. And Zephy always know when it's bedtime because she'll start hearing me say the I am statements, and she'll either come in while I'm saying them or she'll come in as soon as I finish them.
exactly.
But then I also write down at minimum 10 things every morning that I am grateful for.
Oh, I'm in a competition for the week. You do 10 things to be grateful for, and you can't repeat it. But my one thing I'm always grateful for, I really messed up my back in 2018. L3 and L4 went one way, L5 went the other way.
Yep.
I mean, they told me I probably would never walk again. Physical therapy, thank God my parents could, I moved home. My dad drove me to physical therapy 4 times a week. So my number one thing I'm thankful for every day is my back is so much better. But trying to come up with 9 other things and not repeat myself in a week, it gets a little bit challenging. Okay, I'm happy it rained yesterday. I'm thankful and grateful today. It was a nice sunny day. I'm thankful and grateful the kids were outside playing after school today. I heard them laugh. You just, it makes you think, and you've got to be grateful. I mean, we live
absolutely
beautiful lives.
One of the things I'm here in Arizona. So one of the things I put down that I'm grateful for every day is rain.
Two stories.
I love it when it rains because the temperature drops, it clears the air, and I can go outside and dance in it, even if my dog doesn't want to come outside with me.
True story about my mom. My dad had her flown back to Phoenix. It was 3rd Street in Dunlap. There's a hospital there for people on ventilators. And it was, my mom's from Ireland, and my brother was visiting, and he was so disappointed she didn't do better. It was a Tuesday after St. Patrick's Day. I came in the morning, and my back was turned. I'm like, it's raining outside, Mom. You love the smell of rain. I opened up the window. I turn around. My mom goes, you cut your hair. And her entire memory came back perfectly, except for the 13 months that she was on the ventilator. And
wow,
they say smell is the strongest thing, but she loved the smell of rain in Arizona. I mean, you have to open up every single window in the house for her.
I start doing happy dances when it rains.
Yes.
I really do. I start doing happy dances when it rains because I love being outside when it rains. I love dancing in the rain. I love the smell of it. I love how clean the air is after it. Even though there's been times that I have left the windows down in my car.
Well,
on those days, I am grateful for the heat because it dries out the car before I even realize I left the windows down. But thankfully, it's the back windows where Zephy is in the back, because I have these solar shades that are like stockings that stretch over the back door, over the window part, so the glass goes down between. And those solar shades, even though she can see out and sniff the air and everything else, I got nose prints in a row along them from where she pushes out on the stockings. It doesn't let a lot of rain in, even through the thunderstorms and stuff. And I've gone out the next morning and realized the window's open. I'm like, oh damn! But because of the temperatures here right now, you get in there and the car's bone dry, like the carpet's dry. And with windows where it's open, I have her seat cover across the whole back seat, which is waterproof. All of that is bone dry. Everything underneath it is bone dry. Back of the front seat's bone dry. Everything is just bone dry because of the heat. So that day, I'm always thankful for the heat.
I lived in Goodyear in Phoenix for the past 14 years. I just moved to near Charlotte, and it was the most beautiful spring. But boy, the humidity here, it just zaps you. I'm like, and people are like, well, it's so hot in Phoenix. I'm like, yeah, you walk out, you think, oh, it's hot, but you don't. If you're not told it's 110 degrees, you just know it's hot. I can handle the heat so much better than I can handle the humidity. The humidity just takes all your energy.
Oh, I lived in Virginia for 13 years, 13 summers. And the day we left Virginia, we had to stop at the UPS store to drop off the DirecTV stuff. And my husband had always told me that I would climatize to the humidity. I got back, and all I did was we left the hotel. I got in the Yukon. We drove down to the UPS store, I got out, I walked over to the UPS store, got the TV stuff, came back out, got in the car, by which stage I was soaking wet from the humidity and the heat and the humidity. And I said to him, and now I had a 12-hour drive to sit on a leather seat in wet clothing. And I said to him, and thankfully for AC, and I said to him, I said, I just want you to know, this is my 13th summer here in Virginia. I never once climatized to this humidity. So I don't know how many summers it's supposed to take, but 13 ain't the magic number.
Well, the story from me, my parents were living in, my dad was a pharmacist at NIH hospital, and he got reassigned to Phoenix. So my birthday's in the third week of August, and he had to report to his new duty station July 1st. My parents drove in a dark green station wagon, no air conditioning, cross country with a 2.5-year-old, my older brother, in the car. And my mom said it was the most miserable trip she's ever done, because when they got to the hotel, she'd lie out and I would just go crazy kicking and everything. And she's just like, I don't know what we were thinking. He should have put me on a plane. That's all it should have been. So
yeah, thankfully we had really good AC in Brad's Yukon, and the whole back area was open and laid down flat because our dog Gus was in the back seat there, and he made sure that we stopped every 2 to 2.5 hours. And once an hour for 5 minutes, he wanted the window beside Brad pulled down so he could stick his head out. And then he'd come over to my side and want my side down, because obviously there's different smells on different sides of the vehicle on the freeways. And he'd stick his head out there. And then after 5 minutes, he was done, and he'd go back to sleep for the next hour and then wake up. And he would, but the funny thing was that whenever Brad would go, nope, not putting the window down, Gus would put his head on Brad's shoulder, because Brad was tall enough that Gus could do that, and just press down and just keep keep pressing on Brad's shoulder until he opened the window. I was too short; he couldn't reach my shoulder because my shoulder was level with the seat, but Brad's was above the top of this. It was the funniest thing ever.
But they hadn't trained well, so I don't want. I can
Gus
hear your
figured
dog.
it out.
I was going to say, yeah, I don't know if we've done more than 20 minutes. Your poor dog needs to go for a walk. What any other questions I can answer for you at this time?
No, but we will tell people that because you do have a free copy of 7 Streams of Income.
Yes.
And it's in the description down below. Is go to learnwithsallymarie.com. And once you've downloaded that 7 streams, you also have the opportunity at that point to set up an appointment to meet with Sally. So I highly recommend, if you're looking at this capital gains stuff that we've been talking about like for the first 10 minutes.
We talked about a little bit more than that, yes.
Yeah. Then if you want to talk more about the capital gains thing and about the Spendthrift Trust and the business trust as well, then book that time with her. I had a quick look through the 7 streams of income today. I had a quick look through that, and I thought that was a really cool little booklet that you put out there.
I need to change it, because the gift giving tree in the booklet is $100. Now we are on another tree that's only $10. $10 to join, and keeps going. So I need to get onto Fiverr and get somebody to do it nicely, because I did that and it's not the best way of doing things, but it's just everything that I do there in the 7 streams. I mean, there's the gift giving tree. I don't have my silver thing in there, but online education, everything I'm making a little bit of money from, everything helps. I mean, unfortunately, with inflation going up, things like that, just help people do a little bit. Here's something to help you get a little bit more to help yourself, because a really sad statistic, Bankrate.com said this in November 2021, 80% of Americans have more than $90,000 in debt and are not saving 10% for retirement. That is a really scary number. My personal goal is I want to help 1% for the next 5 years, bring that down to 75% of people, because again, my mom's medical history could have been horrendous. I mean, if my dad didn't have TRICARE for life, I don't know what decisions we'd be making without that. And I don't want that for anybody's family.
Yeah. I mean, after seeing Brad's hospital, what it cost to room, for Brad to be in hospital for 87 days, I was so thankful we had the insurance to cover it, because it was. I mean, you're talking 87 days. That was old. There was a lot of 6 figures. There was a big 6-figure number at the end of that. And I'm just so thankful we didn't have to pay any of it.
Thank God for that. I'm sorry he passed away, but that would be horrible that you're dealing with your grief and then dealing with bills on top of it. It
Yeah,
just,
I
it
was
crushes
very
people.
thankful. Yeah, I was, and seeing what my friend is going through right now after her husband passed and the hospital bill that she's been left behind with, I'm just sort of like, oh my gosh, I am so thankful that we had the insurance that we had at the time and that it took care of everything. So medical insurance does have its place, and I do agree with it at times, and there's other times it's sort of like the biggest pain in the butt to deal with.
Well, just real fast about the Spendthrift Trust. The Spendthrift Trust deals with all bills. It pays for my health insurance. It pays for my infinite banking policy. It pays for my car to get the new registration. It pays for the gas on it. The only three things the Spendthrift Trust does not cover is your food, fun, and fashion. But you can do my. I don't have a beautiful car. It's a Nissan Versa, but the Blue Book value is $12,000. I can do what's called a demand letter up to $12,000 to pay for my food, fun, and fashion. But I have the business trust where I'm making money there too, so I don't have to worry about that. But
Yeah, you and I are going to be having another conversation soon.
Correct. Your poor dog is like, I got to go now.
Oh, no, she's laying quietly by my feet, but I'm getting the look, sort of like.
Hey, that makes you feel guilty, doesn't it?
Yes, it's the guilt look. Like, please.
I'm desperate.
But Sally, thank you so much for coming on. I was so glad that you were able to make. I'm so glad the internet FUD decided to cooperate in the end, so that you could get on time.
Well,
I was sort of like, what am I going to talk about tonight if the internet's not working for you?
Well, I appreciate you having me on here. I'm not sure if you talk about that you're part of Casey's pick or anything. It is an amazing group. I am so glad I joined it. I'm in a mastermind. I told my 6 ladies today, you've got to come in 2 weeks when he does his two free days. Exactly. Yeah. I'm like, even if you don't decide not to join, what he gives you in just those 6-hour days, it's 12 hours or something.
Day one is 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Pacific, and day 2 we cut out the lunch and go till like 1 p.m. So
it's even less than that. And
so it's like 11 hours, total of 11 hours, I think it works out.
And just some of the stuff he tells you to work with is just life-changing.
And it's hands-on.
It's hands-on. It's
practical stuff.
Exactly. So it's been a pleasure meeting you and Pick. I'm so glad I found y'all. I'm so happy I found y'all.
Well, we're happy to have you on board as well. And Sally, I can't thank you enough for coming on this evening and talking about the Spendthrift Trust and everything else we covered as well. So if you want your free copy of the 7 Streams of Income, just go to the link that is in the description below with learnwithsallymarie.com and set up a time to talk with her, because this woman is sharp. She is amazing, and
thank you.
I'm going to be calling her too. So.
Wonderful. Well, have a great evening. It's coming on to 10 o'clock here. We had a thunderstorm at 3 o'clock in the morning that shook the house. I mean, it was amazing to see the power of God.
Oh yeah, we get those here frequently. The RV shakes around a little bit. We get rocking and rolling in the RV. But then it doesn't take much wind for us to start rocking.
Do you stay in Arizona the whole time, or do you move around at times?
I have been in Arizona for just over 18 months. Hang on. September 2020 is at the end of September 2020 is when I moved to Arizona. So I've been here all that time, but I've been at this particular resort on this particular site since June 1st of last year.
I'm not trying to put any pressure on you. I'm driving from Miami out to Phoenix, doing a Scottsdale, doing a presentation, then flying to London, and then I'm coming back. I've got some things to do. If we could meet up the second week of October, I would love that. Just have drinks someplace or something. So
we can. There's really cool dog friendly places where I can bring Zeffie as well. So
excellent.
I'm trying to climatize her to public places where she goes to that other diners are not going to give her tidbits.
Well, I know Culver's, if you go through the drive-through with your dog, they'll hand you a dog biscuit. So
we found Dutch Brothers, and they do pup cups. And, and they ask if the dog is in the car with you, and you say yes, and they give her 2 biscuits on top of her cup of cream.
Well, she really needs to go, so I'll cut this short.
No, because I mentioned Dutch Brothers. we just get into the queue now, and she starts kicking up a storm until I order her pup cup. And that's the first thing they say, what do you want? I said, well, first of all, we need to get the pup cup. And Zeffie's doing her performance in the background. And I turned to her and said, well, ordered your pup cup. Not a single sound out of her until the cup gets handed into the car.
See, she's got you well trained.
Oh, she has. Well, thank you again, Sally. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in this evening to our Before the Dirt Nap podcast, where we help you live your best life now. Go out, have a super fantastic, sparkling rest of your day. And we will catch you guys back here at 6 p.m. Pacific time tomorrow. Hey, Conora.